Hi, and welcome to Improve Your Voice, aka vocabilities.com. My name is Darren McStay, and today I'm going to be reviewing the voice of actor Tom Hiddleston.
When I first started making films, I initially found that difficult.
Now, I know that I have said many times before that I should stop covering actors' voices, but this is one that's been asked for me by a couple of people, one of which is a personal client of mine, and so I wanted to share this video as a little quick review. It's not a full analysis, not a full breakdown, but just to highlight some of the vocal traits that Tom has and how you might be able to adopt some of them for yourself if you so happen to want to sound or have a voice that sounds a bit more like his. So let's start by taking a little listen to Tom's voice.
When I first started making films, I initially found that difficult, that you make a discovery in a scene, cut, and then it becomes a sort of construction site for half an hour, trying to sustain a integrated psychological reality for the character, so that if you're doing, let's take the first Thor movie for example, some of those sequences at the end of the film between me and Chris Hemsworth were 7 or 8 weeks apart, but in the movie they're next to each other. So you're like, right, 7 weeks ago, I was in this mood, and I was, this level of emotional volatility. And
now it could be that I know this man went to Eton, that I say this, but you can kind of hear it in his voice that he has this thing that British people who go to public schools have, and that's what's known as plumbing mouth. So he's got an area at the back of his mouth which is he keeps open. It's almost like his jaw opens this way and not this way at the front. So he keeps his mouth small at the front and quite open at the back, and it creates this space which can sound a little nasally and does allow air to go up through his nose. But being as an RP speaker, he's very articulate, and he sends the air forward, to his gum ridge just behind his top teeth. And actually, I think maybe he himself personally naturally sends it to his teeth because he's sharp with his S's. Let's have a look at that.
Let's take the first Thor movie for example. Some of those sequences at the end of the film.
Some of those sequences.
So
he's got a sharp S. And now I have a bit of a sharp S as well, but that's how I noticed it with him. And it's something that if you're doing voiceover work, which I do a lot of, it can be picked up. So I have to really kind of round and smooth out my S sounds, like that S. So it's not so it's not so tinny, not so high, but he's got quite a tinny S.
Some of those sequences at the end of the film between me and Chris
Hemsworth. Another thing about Tom is that he's got kind of a slightly campish voice. It's kind of very relaxed, and it's a vocal trait which is easy to slip into, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of relaxed, and he has it's really like one of the words can really flow together because they're softer and it's really considered.
7 or 8 weeks apart.
7 or 8 weeks apart.
7 or 8 weeks apart.
7 or 8 weeks apart. You see, it's kind of got that sort of relaxed camp sound to it. And I guess that's one of the things that makes his voice quite enjoyable to listen to, and why so many people, have recommended him, and why those of you out there who know who you are, we're interested in his voice. Now, I know that he's also a good impersonator, and he does many impressions of other actors and people in the world, but it's interesting that we're looking at his voice and I can see what it is that he does naturally. And I guess because he's picked up some habits from RP and being from quite a wealthy background, obviously going to Eton, his family must have some money. And there are ways of talking that people from those places kind of habitualize and become part of their kind of like society, and one of them is this plumbing mouth. So it's almost like he's got a lot of space at the back, but he keeps it loose at the front, and it's very camp, and he's kind of like someone who's from wealth, but he tries not to show it. He tries to be a bit more, one of the guys, a bit more easier. Again, as with most actors who have trained and have been on stage, he's got a very resonant voice, but he doesn't necessarily have a big booming voice. However, if you saw him live, I'm pretty sure that he could be at quite some distance and you would still hear him clear as a bell. That's what resonance is. And this is a good point about him, because he's not necessarily got that deep, natural, authoritative sounding voice, but he's very clear and his words really resonate because he is relaxed. And I don't know how many times I'm going to need to say this on this channel, but relaxation is key for that resonance, which also provides you with that presence to sit on your voice and allow it to just be and flow naturally. So even though he's articulating in a way which is kind of a little bit camp, but very kind of tight at the front and open at the back, and you know, it can sound slightly nasally. It's his belly that's relaxed and his shoulders are back and, you know, and down, and he's just able to use his voice as an instrument, and he uses it very eloquently and very well. He can sometimes have a bit of tension, but I think that's in his face. Somehow I feel that his jawbones being quite high up sort of directs his mouth to doing a certain thing, and it kind of goes up there, like naturally wants to do that. And even though he's got this open at the back and kind of camp sound, there's a kind of a bit of tension where he's holding himself a specific way. Well, anyway, that's my little voice review on Tom Hiddleston. Any take homes you can get from that? Maybe his relaxation, it really is, you know, just letting go of the belly. Don't worry about it, boys. No one really cares if your belly's hanging out. I mean, a lot of people think they need to get a six-pack and look really fit for, you know, to be more attractive. But you know what? You're more attractive when you're relaxed to everyone. Everyone finds you more appealing. Men, women, whatever it is, at workplaces, social environments. If you relax your belly more, people are less likely to judge you on your belly and more on your relaxed nature and attitude. And here's something we can learn from Tom Hiddleston, is that his relaxedness, he's very likable, and it makes him so, you know, easy to approach. And that's, you know, a nice way to be, and something we can get from his voice that we can adopt for ourselves. I'm Darren McStay. That has been Tom Hiddleston. This is vocabilities.com, aka Improve Your Voice. I'll be bringing more of these over the summer, and until the next time, look after your voice.
I have so many tales to tell, and up till now I've been telling them real badly, so I hate myself and all my faults, because the one thing time won't heal, the loss of days gone.